Flagstaff home. Those of you who watched my video last week that was called Let's Chat know that I was talking about putting up a soup recipe video, and so that's what I am going to be doing in this video today. It is a super, pun intended, no pun intended, it's a super easy soup recipe and it tastes like you have worked on it all day. When the most difficult thing about this recipe is chopping the onion and red bell pepper and sauteing it and putting the corn on a cookie sheet and roasting it for 20 minutes. That's the hard part. Everything else is just dumping. So with no further ado, let's take a look at this recipe. So as I mentioned, this recipe is really easy. It calls for chicken broth, corn, crab meat. I got lump crab, 1 can, cream, thyme, that's cayenne pepper, and then some onion and red bell pepper, and then also there's a little bit of flour and some cooking oil. So here we have an 8-ounce, well, it's 8.5-ounce can of corn that I drained, and I spread it on a foil covered cookie sheet that I sprayed with some oil, and then I spread this out. I'm gonna bake it for 10 minutes at 450, and then once it's cooked for 10 minutes, then I go in and I stir everything up and roast it again in the oven at 450 for another 10 minutes. In the meantime, what I'm gonna do is just cook the chopped onion and red bell pepper in some oil, like a tablespoon or a little less than that. And this is gonna cook until tender for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so the next step after cooking the onions and red bell pepper is that we add the roasted corn to this pot. And then there are 2 cans of chicken broth that go in here. You'll notice though that part of this one is gone. That one goes over in another bowl and gets mixed with a 1/4 cup of flour, and it makes it so that you can whisk that up better so you don't get clumps of flour. That's not going to be added until the end. So right now we're just going to add in the rest of the chicken broth. So that's 2 cans minus the part that I put in that bowl. And then also I have a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And then what we do here now is we just bring this, I'm gonna stir it up, and then I'm gonna bring it to a simmer, and I'm gonna simmer it for about 15 minutes before the next step. Okay, so now these ingredients have simmered for 15 minutes, and what I'm gonna do is add that mixture that I made of broth. It was just, I don't know, I don't even know how much it was, maybe 1/2 cup broth, and I mixed it with a 1/4 cup of flour. And after I quit filming this, I'm gonna scrape this bowl to get all of that in there, and that will thicken up the soup. What I'm gonna do then is just cook it until it's, sorry, I got out of the frame. I'm just gonna cook it until it's thick and bubbly, and then we'll come back for the last step. And now the final step is just to add a 1/4 cup of cream and the can of lumped crab that I drained. So put that in there, and then we'll stir that up. And I just like to serve this up with a little bit of buttered sourdough bread, and we're ready to go. So there you go. I have linked the instructions in the space below. There's a link over to a coordinating blog post, and that will be there for you with the recipe. And so anyway, this is, like I said, a super yummy recipe, and just perfect for a chilly night. I mean, it's really good even if it's not that chilly. I love to serve it up with some toasted buttered sourdough bread that I can kind of dip into it. Just yummy, so you have to give it a try. Thanks so much for coming by and watching, you guys. Hope I'll see you again on my Flagstaff home, and if you're not subscribed, please do so. Hit that button. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.